Hey guys, how's it going? I'm just set up here. Give me a few seconds. There's a bunch of other people who have joined, and it's just lagging for some reason, letting them in. Give it a few seconds. You see how we getting on anyway? What's been happening?
I'm recovering from my steps in Edinburgh.
Oh, did you go on your trip?
Yes.
Excellent.
And it goes like that. To go to the castle and to go down to the hotel and to go back up. And
yeah, it does. It definitely does go like that.
Old town is, but it's yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
I remember my younger days. I remember my younger days when we used to go for a night out, and you would go to what's called the Grass Market in Duncan. You're probably quite familiar.
Yeah, I know. I was there just nearby my hotel. Yeah.
But you forget, after a few beers, you forget that you have to go back up the hill.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. That was fun. Did you have a good time though? Where did you go? Did you just wander around?
Oh yeah, we had a very good time. Yeah. Well, we did. It was not good enough, unfortunately, weather-wise, and at that period to go to the islands as well. But we stayed. We did all town. We went to Leith. We just did a lot of different things there. The Scotch whiskey experience and all different kind of things. So it was fun.
Nice. That sounds pretty good. And it's probably a quieter time. If you go in the summer, it can be crazy, to be honest.
Well, I was really surprised, to be honest with you. It was still quite full.
Yeah.
of tourists, like a lot of Italians, a lot of Chinese, and so it was quite busy. But like Thursday, Friday was great because it was really quiet compared. But Saturday we saw the crowd it really almost triple compared to the 2 other days. So it
was also a
really
big football match actually on Saturday. Yeah. There was a big one, and it was just in the outskirts. Like it was basically in the middle of Edinburgh. So you probably also experienced.
Okay. Yeah.
Was it Sunday or it was Sunday? Maybe actually Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. It was,
we're gone already. It felt way longer than just 3 days, and I really liked. I found the people were super friendly and very different of the rhythm in the Netherlands in that way. Where like. No, but very less everybody is about when you go to a bar in the Netherlands now, you almost have a time slot, in places like Amsterdam or Utrecht.
Where
even if you pay and you consume, you cannot stay more than an hour and a half, for example. So it's crazy. Yeah, really. So it's getting annoying, that kind of trend, really trying to maximize the profit, of the place, but giving you a bit of a crap experience in the process. Well, there nobody cared about for anything, and no pushy, and it was very nice. And you could see that also the atmosphere between the people, the staff and stuff was way more relaxed and fun. So I liked it.
They're fun. They're a fun bunch. That's true. Duncan, are you originally from Edinburgh? Is that correct?
No, but I've I spent a little bit of time there.
Right.
I had a couple of friends who went to uni there, so went to stay with them quite a lot.
Gotcha. But, I don't know where I got that from. Where would I have got that from? Did you go to university there? So no, you just
no.
Where did I get that?
No, just my maybe just because I'm called because I've got a Scottish name.
Potentially, there was definitely. For some reason, I thought you had some connection to Edinburgh at one point. Maybe I just made that up. Who knows? Probably made it up. But but there's a really good bar. I wish you'd told me, Olivia. I would have told you this bar to go to. It was called it's called Panda and Sons, and it's in a barber shop. So you walk. I think it is a barber shop. I'm pretty sure it is. You walk into this barber shop, and there's a door. There's a secret door. that you go
Like
in.
speakeasy style, yeah.
Yeah, it opens up and
Yeah.
it's so cool. It's really, I think it's like one of the best. It's named, one of the best bars in the world. So, basically for that experience, this kind of unique experience. But it's not, tacky inside. It's really cool and like really different. And yeah, next time you go, you should definitely. It's not even expensive.
We got to go back anyway. We got to go back to visit a little bit more and go see, but more like in May, something like that. Before May, before the mosquito in the highlands, and then it's good.
It's you. Was the Christmas market still up? I'd imagine probably not.
Yeah.
It was up. It was okay.
Yeah,
still up in January. Jeez. Okay.
Yeah, on Saturday. Yeah.
It can be crazy, but we went for, there's this pizza in Glasgow actually that's named like the top 13 pizzas in the world. So we thought, okay, we're gonna go try this, and they left us standing outside. So we were like an hour early for a reservation, and I promise I'll get to the training in a second after stories. We were like an hour early for the reservation, and we went in and said, hey, we're here like an hour early. Is there potentially a table that you could sit as that? No problem if not. And they said, yeah, 10 minutes. Okay, no problem. We had to wait outside in like the pouring rain. It was freezing. It was horrible. 30 minutes go by, and they'd clearly forgotten about us. So I walked in and I was like, did you find a table by any chance? And they said, oh, you can sit at the bar. I was okay, sure, no, that's fine. And the bar was like facing the wall. So it wasn't really a bar, it was like a bar table. We're fine, but then it took them half an hour to take our order, and we're starving at this point. But then we said, well, it's now 3:30, it's our reservation time. Is our table ready? Like, well, we're here now anyway. So they sat us at the table, and it turned out it was good. And the good thing was they actually gave it to us free. I didn't ask for it. I didn't complain. I just said, like, whatever. I don't care. And they said, listen, the bill, don't worry about it. I thought, okay. Pretty sweet. So that turned it into the best pizza in the world, free pizza. It was pretty good. I don't know, is it it's hard to tell. Like, what makes it top 13 best pizzas in the world? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was good, but I don't know. I'm not a connoisseur.
Well, I'm happy we find a scotch that my wife likes, and she discovered as well like a Scotch liquor, a little bit like Baileys, but a little bit different, Magnum, and she really liked that too. So it was funny.
Do you know what it's called?
The one that she likes?
Yeah.
Oh, well, just more like when we did the experiment. Yeah, we have a picture, but I don't remember. She might have sent me that. But for me, I like more like the smoky ones. So I'm a smoky head, apparently.
Serious guy. I'd say you're serious about it. I don't even. I couldn't even tell you the first thing. Honestly,
I learned that. And it was pretty fun and well done. So yeah.
I'm glad you had a good trip. Next time you're there, let us know, and we'll take you out for dinner or something. Show you some of the sites. Just give me 1 sec to admit someone here. Okay. All right. So I'm sure there will be people joining us. There's about 14, 15 of us here at the moment. So I'm sure there'll be a few more hopping in as we go. But today we're going to be diving into the second part of the training. The first part I did last week, which was day 1 of this 3-day workshop strategy. And we're going to be diving into day 2. And of course, before we kick off, I will ask, are there any quick questions anyone wanted to ask? We'll come back around for questions at the end where I'll cover the whole topic, or whatever you need. I'll answer that then. Are there any questions anybody wanted to cover before we dive in? If not, it's all good. But feel free to
Is day ask. 1 already in the training area?
Did you say is the other one already in the training area?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay.
Just if you search your email inbox for the Hollywood blockbuster effect.
Okay, yep.
You'll find that.
Seeing it. Okay.
That's that one there. Okay. No worries. And next week, folks, I'm going to be doing the call on Tuesday. Just FYI, for day 3, I'm flying out to Arizona on Wednesday for a week, I think it is. I'll still be working as normal, but Wednesday is the day that I fly. That's 9 hours. So just for reference, day 3 of this training is going to be on Tuesday next week. So let's dive into today's training. Now, as usual, let me know if there are any questions. I'm going to be hopping between tabs. I don't always see the chat over here. So if you do have any questions, let me know. Just unmute yourself, talk over me. Feel free to ask whatever it is that you need. Give me 1 second. Someone's hopping in here. Admit. All right. All right. So last week we covered day 1, which was the first day of the 3-day workshop strategy. As I mentioned, this is a strategy where it can bring in clients very, very quickly. And I'm actually using it. You might have seen me post about getting calls booked over the last few days. Well, I launched a new strategy, well, not a new niche basically. And that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm using the workshop strategy. I'm using case studies. I'm using that to drive calls. I've sent 45 emails and I've got 4 booked calls basically. I've got more on top of that. I sent another 20 or 30 today, so I expect to get a bit more in bites. But as you can imagine, that conversion rate is very high, and the reason it's very high is because of what I'm showing you. That's the secret behind it. Now, today we're going to be diving into how to get your prospects to sell themselves without speaking to them, right? And this will all make sense as we progress through it. It will make sense. You'll see how this clicks into place. But without further ado, we will dive in. All right. So in last week's session, we dove into how to create day 1 of a workshop. So if you haven't watched that session, make sure you do. It's all going to connect together. So you'll see day 1, day 2, day 3. If you haven't watched that, watch day 1. It will make this session make a lot more sense. This is still going to make sense to you, so you don't have to worry about that, but it's going to make even more sense once you have seen day 1. So if you haven't seen that yet, make sure you watch day 1. I will also post a link to this when I upload the recording, so I'll put them all together for you. So today we're going to be focusing on day 2, and in day 1, I mentioned how it's very important for your mindset to shift with this strategy away from trying to sell, right? We don't want to be selling anything. This is what sets you apart. Once you move away from the process of selling, all of a sudden people start responding to you, right? Because there's a big belief that the reason webinars don't work quite as well, and again, there's a big difference between webinars and workshops, but just for example purposes, the reason webinars don't work as well anymore is because people know the sales process. Once somebody starts to understand the sales process, the process itself is no longer as effective, right? The reason webinars worked is because they hid the sales process. They basically would have 20 minutes of, and I don't know, Vince just said before the rags to riches story. He's commented that before. I remember that. The big rags to riches story that isn't really valuable, but that's the value component of a webinar. Then they go into 20 minutes of pitch and 20 minutes of pressure. So that sales process was hidden for a long time and it worked, but then people started to know the sales process. You knew when you signed up for a webinar, you weren't going to get any value. It was the same thing with appointment setters. Remember all the rage with appointment setters and getting people to add others on Facebook as friends and then sending them a DM to pitch them. That worked for a short period of time, and then people started to understand and see the sales process. So they stopped responding, and now that's pretty much dead, right? That doesn't happen. I don't get pitches very often, whereas I used to get 5 per day. So the difference with this process is that we're not really hiding the sales process, so to speak. We are completely reverse engineering the sales process. I'm making it much easier for you, and I'm making it much easier for the prospect to buy from you. And that's the secret behind what we're doing. I'm not hiding the sales process. I'm just completely removing the sales process. I'm not selling to anybody. I'm creating the need. I'm exposing the problem, creating the need, and then providing the solution. There is no sale in it. It's simply, do you want to go faster or do you want to do this yourself? It's a choice. It's all to do with how we build up in day 1, day 2, and day 3. This is how you can get people wanting to buy from you before you've even hosted the workshop or before you've ever pitched anything. If you've ever wanted those emails that say, Can you just, what is it you're selling? I want to do it. If you've ever had that before, it's quite a cool experience. It's a result of this, of what we're about to see. So day one, we exposed the problem of the prospect. We told them how to think. So we controlled their thinking to some extent. Then we started to build hope for a better tomorrow. The key with day one was for the prospect to find themselves in the problems that you can solve. And remember, we didn't tell them that they had a problem. This is very important. We didn't say, hey, you have this problem. We showed them the problem. We showed them other people in their industry who struggle. Give me 1 second to let in here. We showed them people who had the same problem. And this opened the door for them to, give me just 1 second. I just need to admit guests again. All right. I am back. All right. So we didn't tell them they had a problem. We ran parallel to that problem. We opened the door for them to see themselves with the same problems and think, oh, actually, I do have that problem too. I'm not, I'm not attacking them. I'm not saying you have this problem. I'm saying other people have this, and then they see themselves in the same situation. The reason we do this is because they make the decision, right? I want to train them throughout this process to make decisions themselves, to have the confidence to do so. So I'm leading, I'm basically leading a duck to water, right? That's what I'm doing. So I create the problem, I expose it, I run parallel to it, and they think, oh, you know what? I actually have that problem too. Then I expose the gap. I show them what the most successful people in their industry do differently. And what this does is this builds the desire to identify with the most successful people, right? So they want to become the most successful person. They want to be part of that group. As human beings, we want to be part of groups naturally, right? It's a natural inclination that we have. We want to be part of societies. We want to be part of clubs, religions, political parties. That's why these things exist, because naturally we want to identify with something we believe in and others that we believe in. Now, we can use this to our advantage. We can align the most successful people, and it creates this desire inside somebody to want to become like the most successful person. They want to be part of that club. They want to be part of that team. So what do they have to do? Well, in order to be part of the most successful people, they have to do what the most successful people do, the same actions. Now, I don't want to leave them with this gap. And remember, this is a recap of day one at the moment. I don't want to leave them with this gap of, well, I'm not successful yet. I want to be successful. There's a gap there, right? There's a canyon essentially of how do I get to that point? So I have to build hope about how they can close that gap. How do they build a bridge across? People don't buy in a position of fear. They don't buy in a position of hesitation or feeling down on themselves. People buy, your clients, your customers will buy when they feel hope for the future. So we have to build hope about how they can close that gap. Then we've got to remove the objections that they have about closing the gap. For example, it's too expensive, it's too difficult to do, there's too much of a learning curve. The reality is we can plug it into their business, right? We can plug whatever system it is, process it is, we can take all of those objections away from them and plug it into their business. As I said, people buy from a position of hope. They hope for a better tomorrow. So our goal, our objective for day one is, is that they feel like they see the problems that they have. They don't feel attacked. They don't feel defensive. If they feel attacked, their guards are going to go up. They're going to feel too anxious to do anything, right? They're going to feel terrible about themselves. We don't want their guardrails to come up. We want them to feel as if, well, he said that the people who struggle have this problem. You know what? Maybe I have that problem too. But he also said the most successful people do something differently. So I should do that too. So what I'm doing is building the position that they know what the most successful people are doing that they're not doing. They want to be like this person. I'm creating the identity here. We remove the friction entirely. We remove the objections of it's too hard, it's too expensive, the learning curve is too steep. And I remove the objections between where they are and where they want to go. And then I start building hope and excitement for tomorrow. Tomorrow is where we build the next stage, which leads us on to day 2. So we covered the belief components. In day 1, we built the belief and the hope for a better tomorrow. Long story short, we got them excited, right? People want to be excited. They want something to look forward to. Therefore, we have to engineer that. Again, there's no sales pitch, none at all. All I'm doing is building this excitement, building this tension up and the hope for a better tomorrow. And in day 2, we're going to start closing that gap. So day 2, we need to tackle the logic component of this. With the belief built up, the prospect starts to feel closer to their goal. Just by knowing how they do it, it's progress. People think progress is simply, they have to actually take action. No, not at all. By simply understanding how to get to their goal, by simply having the roadmap in front of them, they simulate it in their mind. They start to think, wait a second, this is quite simple. I could actually get there. It's dopamine, right? I'm feeding them dopamine by giving them the blueprint, by giving them the map. I'm showing them how to get there. This is mental progress. When they do this, it all becomes possible. All those objections people have, all those objections you've had on sales calls before where it's not been the right time, they've got to think about it, they've got to see case studies, all of that goes out the window. It doesn't exist anymore, simply because of how we're treating consumer psychology with this workshop. So now that we've built the belief in day 1, the next logical question is how? How do I achieve it? What do I have to do? How do I solve these problems? I see myself in these problems. How do I solve these problems? And this is where we look at the logic component. Now, the goal here is not to demo products. I don't want to be showing them inside the screen shares or anything like that. I don't want to touch that at all. We're not ready for that yet. That is not our goal. The goal is to show them how they solve the problems that they had in day 1. That is progress. Knowledge is progress. Think about education. We don't really do anything tangible, right? But it's considered you make a lot of progress when you go through schooling. Why? Because you're learning. You're preparing for tomorrow. You're preparing the knowledge to actually progress. But that's considered progress. So think about what we're doing here. By giving them that process of how they get from A to B, struggling to the most successful, just simply understanding it, just having the map in front of them is progress. It gets them excited. It helps them progress and move forwards. And all of a sudden, because we said we would not pitch in day 1 and we delivered on that promise, their trust goes up with us. And now they're really listening to us because we stuck to our promises. Nobody else has ever stuck to their promises before with them. They've always had some kind of pitch or something, right? So if we know that's the case, why don't we push against that? Why don't we use that to our advantage? Why don't we simply do the right thing and keep our promises? All of a sudden, you're going to have a lot more people buying from you. So this isn't a product demo. What we do here is we solve the day 1 problems directly by addressing the friction points we exposed yesterday. We plug the revenue leaks in their business. So this is what we're going to come on to. Basically, we expose the problem, then show them how to fix that problem. Not with a service, but by strategy. And of course, it has to tie to their outcome. Their outcome and the outcome of most people, basically in any business, right? They want to make more money with less effort. That's it. More money doing less things. Make it less difficult. If we can satisfy that component or that desire, they're going to buy whatever you have because you're giving them exactly what they want. You're listening to the market. Now, this could be anything. It could be literally any service, any product, anything you want to do, as long as it satisfies this desire. So the mechanism, everyone thinks, well, what product should I sell? What offer should I sell? What service? It doesn't really matter. All you have to do is position it. So hit this and it will sell, no matter what it is. Your service, your offer, it's simply the mechanism. So, for example, again, we're going to continue on from day one, the AI legacy system that many of you have seen. Basically, just to recap, database reactivation, AI employees, review automation, the referral engine, and follow-up sequences and systems and automations, right? That's basically, this is one entire service. It can be any service. I am simply using this to give it context for you, to give you an example as to if you had this service, how would you position it? So take what I'm saying and position it with whatever offer, whatever service you want to go for. I'm just using this for context. So this is one service. This is one entire system. Usually you would install that for about $1,000 per month. That was a terrible drawing. $1,000 per month for the system. So with this context, you want to show them how they can make more money without investing time or money into it. How they have existing leads, for example, sitting on their database who are going to buy from somebody at some point. They need to make sure that they buy from them. If they don't buy from them, they're going to fall behind. The most successful, and watch what I'm doing here, right? The most successful businesses are extremely efficient in doing this. You then want to show them how just by missing phone calls, so this is where we're talking about the AI employee, for example, we show them how that just by missing phone calls, it can cost them a fortune in missed revenue. Again, leads who call a business are intent-driven leads. They will close. They're the best type of leads. So by missing calls each day, even just letting their phone go to voicemail once per day, they could be losing the best prospects they're going to find in 6 figures per year. So again, I'm tying it to the outcome. Think about what I've done there. Think about the words that I'm using. Just by missing or just by letting their phone go to voicemail, something easy, something simple, something everybody does, tying it to their outcome, they're losing 6 figures per year. Think about what I'm doing, right? Simplicity, something easy, low friction, something easy to solve, not missing voicemails or not letting it go to voicemail. Outcome to their income, more money, profit, tying the two together, right? You're going to notice that pattern. So you then want to show them how they can get the highest quality customers, growing their customer base without actually having to invest in advertising. If they don't, they become stuck always having to pay for expensive new customers. They can have customers who already trust them coming in automatically. Now, one important note, this here is for your reference, right? I'm giving you this reference so that you know what we're talking about, right? So when I'm saying get the highest quality customers, get other customers referring other customers, I'm talking about this system. But note, when I was saying that, when I was giving you an example of what I would be saying in a workshop, I didn't say the name of this one. I didn't say the name of an AI employee. I didn't say anything about database reactivation. All I did was describe the problem, right? Because I'm not pitching anything. I'm just painting the picture of the problem. And we'll come on to this in a few minutes. So I'm just describing the problem intentionally here. Now, You want to show them how they can lose business to competitors because their reviews are low volume or they're not recent. Customers now choose the business with the best reviews locally. So if they don't have the best reviews, they're actively losing the best customers. And then finally, you want to show them how instead of a customer buying once, they can buy multiple times per year, which increases their revenue without increasing their costs. These are the problems that we're tackling. So I'm describing the problems. But remember, we always have to position this in relation to the outcome that they want. You have to tell people what to think. And this goes for everything in sales, everything you do. You have to tell people what to think. If you don't tell people what to think, they're going to come up with their own interpretation based on their life experiences, based on what they see in the markets. And it could go in all sorts of tangents, right? They think of it within their own box. Now, everybody wants to be comfortable, so they never want to think themselves outside of their own box. So if you don't fit inside that box, they're never going to think of it the right way. So why would we ever let them do that? We wouldn't, right? We'd never let them do that. We have to control the narrative. We have to tell them how to think. So this is why I say we can't just say things like database reactivation. Why? Because it's going to go into their world. They're going to think, well, database reactivation, that reactivates old leads. Well, listen, I do have that big list of leads on a spreadsheet, but they were terrible. Yeah, they're not going to convert. So I don't really have any leads. But they've missed the point entirely, right? But that's what they're naturally going to think. They're going to think my customers won't give me referrals. They keep saying that, but they never do. That's where they're going to stop right there. But the reality is we solve that problem. So you see, if we leave them to their own devices, if we let them think what they want to think, or they'll think with AI employees, well, I can bring in a receptionist to take all the calls for me. Well, a receptionist has a lunch break. They go home at 5 o'clock. They have sick days. They are not trained on sales, but in their mind, in their little bubble, in their box, they think that's the solution. So we can't let them basically think on their own. You have to tell them what to think. We have to tie it to the outcome at all times. So always position this in relation to the outcome that they want, making more money with less effort without spending a fortune. So we want to tie this entire system, showing the revenue leaking out, and actually quantify how much they could be losing right now and how much more money, remember hope here, right? How much more money they could make by fixing this. Now, again, I mentioned this a few times, but I always want to point it out. The word fixing, I use the word we can fix this. The word fixing is a very important word because if you tell someone something is broken, they're afraid. They don't want to move forwards because they think everything is broken. But we only fix things that are already broken. Otherwise, we wouldn't fix it. So by saying this, I'm implying that it's broken without actually forcing it upon them, without making them afraid. They just feel comfortable because they think, oh, wait a second, maybe it's not that good. Maybe I do have some problems, but it's fine. It's fine. They'll fix it. They'll fix it for me. So you see how much more of a positive spin that has than your system is broken. That's like it shuts them down entirely. They shut down. So we've got to keep building this hope. Then we've got to show them how these problems are solved. If they want to be like the most successful business owners, they need to do what these business owners do. And this is where we start to introduce the idea of the services. And remember, we aren't discussing the services yet. We're just dropping the solutions today. Now, as a side note, the solutions just so happen to be the services, right? They go hand in hand. But we're not positioning it as this is a service. No, it's simply the solution to their problems. So, for example, let's break these down as if I was actually building day 2 of this workshop. Again, remember, this is for context purposes. You can apply this to anything. So if they have leads sitting in a database, we want to point to the problem of these leads sitting on their database. They have spent money before and they're just gathering dust. Well, the most successful companies out there work these leads. They're always in contact with them. They're following up. They're nurturing them. But they don't do it manually. They reactivate their entire database consistently using automations. This means that they can maximize every single lead that they have. But they don't have to do this manually. The reason you can't do that is because they're not doing this manually. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that you can't do that. You just don't know how they're doing it. But the good news is I'm about to tell you how they're doing it. This means instead of paying for new customers, here I'm going to tie it to the outcome again. This means instead of paying for new customers constantly, they can have an additional 3, 4, or 5 customers flowing in every single month from the leads they already have that disappeared. So again, I'm positioning it as ownership. One of the most important things I want you to take from this workshop is listening very closely to the words that I'm using. I explain the words I'm using because it's second nature to me to use these words. So I have to take a pause and explain the reason I position things a certain way is because of this reason or that reason. So if there's ever something I say and you wonder why I positioned it a certain way, ask me, right? There's probably a reason behind it. So just like the 3, 4, or 5 customers, I didn't say 40 customers, but it could. I said 3, 4, or 5. Why? Because it's believable. It's digestible. So from the leads they already have are the leads that disappear. So basically I'm saying they have ownership of these leads. These are leads that they deserve, that have disappeared, that they should have converted. It's theirs to convert, but they've disappeared. This maximizes efficiency and profit. So again, I'm not just leaving it at the leads that have disappeared. I'm tying it to the outcome that they want. This maximizes efficiency and profit. So their solution here is reactivating the database. So I'm not describing what database reactivation is, right? What I'm doing is I'm saying, here's the problem. Lots of leads sitting on a database that just disappear. Well, the most successful companies don't struggle with this. They don't have to struggle with this because they know something you don't. Now, the good news is I'm going to tell you what it is that they know that you don't know so that you can do this too. They reactivate and nurture all the leads. The secret is in how they do it. They don't do it themselves. You try to do it yourself. You try to nurture or reactivate all these leads. It's going to take you all day long. It'll take you forever. You can't possibly do that. But the reason they can is because they're not doing it. They're using automation. And then I tie it to the outcome, right? You see how I'm transitioning from this is what they don't tell you. This is the secrets that these business owners, these most successful business owners that you want to be like, this is what they know that you don't know. But again, I kept my promise on day one. I didn't pitch you. I told you exactly what was going to happen and it happened. So you trust me. And in day 2, I'm not pitching you either. So it creates this sense of trust. So the guard goes down. Then I come on to the second service here. If I was selling an AI employee as a second service, we look at the problem of missed calls. Well, the most successful businesses out there never miss calls. But that doesn't mean they're on 24/7. That doesn't mean they're answering the phone at midnight, right? That's not how it works. No, they're using a highly trained AI to do this for them. They have AI employees within their business. They don't have a $400,000 payroll of people who are answering calls. No. They have AI employees within their business that speak to every lead, whether it's through the website, via SMS, or by phone call. So this means instead of losing the customer because they missed the call or they were at dinner with their family or they're spending time with the kids or maybe they were driving or maybe they were having a day off, the most successful businesses are always converting these customers. They maximize the amount of profit outcome they bring in by simply not missing the low-hanging fruit. Think about what I'm doing there, right? I'm making it seem very easy, the low-hanging fruit. the easy stuff. They're not missing the easy stuff. But again, it's not your fault. It's not your fault because you thought you had to pick up the phone all the time. No. They're not. They just don't tell you that they're using AI employees. That's the answer. If you want to maximize the efficiency, maximize the outcome, the profit, the money you make, the outcome that you want, all you have to do is catch the low-hanging fruit with an AI employee. That's it. That's their secret. Then we come on to paying for every customer, right? This one really stings. So we look at always, or how they are always paying for new customers, and they rely on this. Well, the most successful businesses have stronger profit margins. Why? Because they aren't always paying for new customers. They have a stream of referrals coming in every month that brings in, here we go again, 3, 4, or 5 extra clients. This means they have this additional profit coming in, which makes a huge difference. Again, I'm positioning this as this is not your fault. It's not your fault that this happens. They have this unique advantage that you don't have. They're getting 3, 4, 5 referrals every month. But they aren't asking every customer for a referral or contacting all of their clients to try and get referrals. No, they don't have time for that. You don't have time for that. They use automations to do it. They just don't tell you that. To turn every 3 customers into 1 new customer as a referral over and over and over again. The automations do it all for them. This builds their customer base without ever having to pay for it. They're getting the best types of customers without having to pay for them. So if we look at where they are struggling and paying for every customer, no wonder this is accelerate ahead of them. Of course they will. The ones that struggle are paying for every customer. These businesses that use these automations and get the referrals, of course they have the advantage. But you see, all they have to do to fix this, is to set up the referral automations in their bit. That's all they have to do. It's very easy. They just set up these referral automations, just like the most successful businesses do. And they can work like this too. They can get these referrals. All of a sudden, in a couple of months, they're not having to pay for new customers anymore. They're coming in automatically 3, 4, 5 per month, simply because they just replicated what the most successful do. And I mean, listen, if the proven blueprint is in front of you and you can see that these businesses are doing this, why wouldn't you do it, right? It's the instruction manual is right in front of you. Of course you're going to do it. So watch what I'm doing here, right? Simplifying it, making it okay and acceptable for them to do what I'm saying, basically. Then we're going to come on to weak reviews. So how the customers are searching for the best reviewed businesses before making that decision. And we all know this happens, right? We don't go into a hotel or book a hotel without checking the reviews. And honestly, the most recent reviews, I've made the mistake before where, maybe they've got 900 reviews and you don't check the detail of it. And you get there and those reviews were like 4 years ago and now it's super dated and it's just not good. I've done that. I've made that mistake before. Now I check the most recent ones. Same with restaurants. I check the most recent reviews. How was it last week? Right? So it's not just about getting volume of reviews. It's the recency of reviews as well. And I use these examples in the workshops. I will give it that obvious an example, an everyday task. Before you go to a dentist to get a root canal, you're going to check the reviews, right? You're going to make sure other people have had this done and it was okay. It was painless. You're going to make sure when you're going out on a Friday night and you're really looking for it and you're spending your hard-earned money on a nice dinner, you're going to make sure it's good. So the business that doesn't have the reviews are unfortunately not going to get your business because you're not going to take that risk, right? So I use these everyday examples to really get the point across. So instead of losing customers, the most successful businesses make sure they always have fresh, new reviews and that the volume is always building. It's so important. It's absolutely vital. But they aren't asking every new customer for a review. That would take so long to do. They use automation once again to do this. They can get reviews from their best customers automatically, consistently, every single day. And of course, if they're asking every customer automatically for a review, of course they're going to have more reviews than you are. Of course, they're going to have more recent reviews than you are. And of course, as a result, the customer is going to choose them because they've got the more recent and better reviews. Of course, that's going to happen. But this is how they build more reviews and win that new business. Whereas those who struggle either try to do this manually and ask every customer and end up forgetting about it, or they don't do it at all. When in reality, all you have to do is put that automation into your business and it's done. You don't even have to think about it. Yet you start winning that battle. Then we come on to the final component, which is low lifetime value. So the most successful businesses, and again, I want you to notice this pattern. Every single time, every example I've given you here, I have anchored to the most successful businesses consistently because I'm training the mind. I'm training that behavior, that thought process of I'm being taught here what the most successful people do. So it's extremely valuable, right? I'm not telling people it's valuable. I'm letting anchoring do that for me. I'm using the association, right? It's like trust by association. That's what we're doing here. And again, this is the kind of thing where if you don't have case studies, you don't have testimonials, reviews, etc. yourself, this mitigates that entirely. You don't need them because we are getting trust through association. So the most successful businesses maximize the lifetime value from every single customer. They don't hope that new customers come back. They engineer a system that ensures that they do. This means that customers pay them over and over and over again, whereas those who struggle are always chasing expensive new customers. So again, there's a strong chance that the business owner who's watching this workshop can associate and see themselves in that problem because they all think, I've got to get new customers, I've got to get new customers. So just by saying this, they can associate, they can draw parallels with those who struggle. So again, they want the identity of the other person. So you see I'm connecting those two together. So those who struggle are always chasing expensive new customers. But once again, what they don't tell you is that they aren't manually doing this. That would be impossible. Imagine having to call every prospect, nurturing them all the time. It would be 3 full-time jobs just doing that alone. That's 100,000 in salaries minimum. Of course they're not doing that. They just don't tell you what they really do. They use follow-up systems that nurture leads around the clock. This ensures that every single lead is nurtured and taken care of, which, of course, skyrockets their lifetime value, it skyrockets their profit, and it builds an extremely strong foundation. And then I position it. This is the secret behind what the most successful business owners do that they don't tell you. It's not your fault that you haven't done this yet. You didn't know about it. But now you have the blueprint of exactly what they do that you don't do. And the reality is, it's very, very easy for you to actually do this. They aren't doing it all themselves. They're installing systems that do it all for them. They just don't tell you what those systems are because you can't see them unless you are in their business. And why would you be inside their business? Not physically. Why would you be in the workings or the inner workings of their business? You wouldn't be, right? Because it isn't your business. So you would never see this. But the good news is we are. And what I've just told you is exactly what they do. This is the leverage that they have. And this is what moved them from struggling to becoming the most successful. So remember what I've done here, okay? This is what moved them from struggling, so the position the prospect is in, to becoming the most successful. That bridge, this is the bridge. That's what I'm saying to them. And subconsciously, this works wonders. They just implement these systems. Again, ease, easy. That sounds so easy, right? They just implement these systems. And I would actually rewrite that. And I would say they just install these systems. The only reason I don't say install is because that can kind of move towards a service pitch. So I'm a little bit careful sometimes with that. So they just implement these systems. And this is how we start to position the system. This is how we create the problem and then the solution. We give them the answer. I've told them everything they have to do, right? I've told them they've got to reactivate the database. I've told them they can't miss any calls. I've told them they've got to automate the reviews. They've got to have referrals coming in automatically. And they've got to nurture the lifetime value using automation. I have told them exactly what to do and exactly how to get from where they are all the way to where they want to go and the identity that they want to have to become the most successful. I've told them how to do this. Now, one thing we want to do here is I want to tie this here. So I've given them the solution. I want to tie the outcome, right? $50,000 to $200,000. And we have the breakdowns, of course, of all the numbers and why they make sense and how it all comes together. So these numbers do make sense. There are separate videos on that and why these numbers make sense, but you can use them. But this adds up, right? This is the number. So I've told them the solution, exactly what to do. I've told them the secrets that they don't know. I've told them that it's all an advantage that they don't have, but they can get by simply implementing a system. And I've told them what the outcome it is they want. So think about this. The word implementing this system is a short sentence deliberately. I don't go off on descriptions or anything like that. It's a short, impactful, punchy statement. They just implement these systems because it's easy. Then I tie it to the outcome. So I've got ease, outcome. Remember what I said at the start? Make more money with less effort. Tie it all back in together here. Make more money with less effort. You see how that paints the picture, builds the picture? So we give them the answer. I'm not holding things back from them. I'm giving them the exact answer they have to take and implement. Then what we do is we quantify all of this as a system, right? We show them the outcome of this entire system working together. Now, what I mean is, instead of just describing each of these individually, I'm actually going to paint the picture like this, right? Like a bit of a system, the whole thing. Why? Because this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different components can look complicated. It can look difficult. It can look like a journey to actually implement this. But what I do here by making it all a system, and I say, well, I don't say we can take care of everything, but you're going to see that we move on to that. What I'm doing here is I'm showing them all the pieces required. And this is just the implementation is one thing. So I'm basically taking 5 individual things and making them one, which makes it easier, simpler, easier to digest and understand. So I'm bringing all of this together. Now, when we look at the problems they face, we have to basically quantify what the cost of the problem actually is. New customers coming in, lifetime value maximized, referral customers coming in, reviews building up and leading to new customers, never missing leads, and never letting leads grow old on a database. What could it actually mean? How much money are they losing? Is it $100,000 per year? $200,000? Even if it was just an extra $50,000, again, very believable, tangible, they can almost touch that. There's very little cost to these automations. So it would be well worth it, right? It would be well worth it for them to do this because there's basically zero risk. The upside is tremendous. They could have 3 to 5 deals per month. They can take their lifetime value from 1 to 3 times. They reduce the dependence on ads and new customers, and of course they stop losing customers. And of course here they don't miss calls anymore as well. So what we're doing here is we're quantifying it, right? We're giving a reason. One of the biggest and most important things with all of this in the online space and anywhere, to be honest, is if you simply tell someone a piece of information, there's a small portion of the market who will just buy on blind belief, right? They'll just listen to what you're saying and yep, they're good to go. Yep, super excited. They're often difficult customers actually at times. Not always, of course, there are always exceptions, but they're difficult customers at times because they go through energy peaks and troughs, right? One day they feel incredible, and next day they feel down in the dumps. It's hard to deal with that. So there's a component of the market that will buy from that position, but the part or the portion of the market that we actually want to work with are the ones that need a little bit of evidence, a little bit of logic, a bit of reason as to why this makes sense. So that's why I quantify this. I might have given them the $100,000 to $200,000 number, but I'm now adding it up, right? They've got 40,000 in simply missed calls, and again, 1 missed call per day. Then I've got 3 to 5 extra deals per month from dormant leads. Then I'm multiplying the existing customers at the lifetime value. Then I'm reducing the cost of new customers because we're using referrals, and then I'm stopping the loss. I'm not losing customers anymore. So all these things added up create that $1, $2, and even $300,000 number, right? So I'm giving it context. I'm making it very, very believable because there's logic behind this as well. One of the things that we do, a very good example of this, is an offer. This is the offer I was telling you about. It's just a side offer, to be honest with you. But basically, we have an executive team, and we can install this executive team into different businesses. Now, if you were to go out there, if I say to you the executive team would cost you $300,000, it would go over your head. You would think, well, there's no basis for that. I've got no idea. You could tell me that all you want. I'm not going to believe it. But when I say you need a TikTok media buyer, you need a Meta media buyer, you need a YouTube media buyer / Google, you need creative strategists for those different platforms, which is multiple. You need copywriters for that particular niche. You need the CMO level strategy. You need an email marketer. You need a conversion rate optimization specialist. All of a sudden, you think the salaries, right, that those require, and that $300,000 is quite quickly exceeded. This is the context. If I say 300,000, it would cost you, it goes over your head. The second I break it down for you, all of a sudden you think, yeah, okay, yeah, a media buyer would cost me 60,000 a year probably, and I need 2 of them, maybe even 3. Okay, that's 180. Copywriter, that could be another 80,000. CMO, that's probably 150 to 200K as it is. You see how it adds up and it starts to make sense? I'm giving context. That's what I'm doing here, and this is what we do in the workshops. We give it context, we give it reason, we give it proof, not by giving case studies and testimonials, etc., but by explaining it this way. So we progress. Now, we've built the outcome here and the mechanisms. We've built the gap, right? So they are currently where they are, struggling. They know where the most successful people are. They know what they're doing now to achieve those outcomes, to achieve those results. And this drives the extra profit. It removes the objection of large expenses, right? We've removed the objection because we can say, look, the automations are very low cost to actually run. You don't have to hire team members, etc. It removes the objection of having to do it all themselves. It's a system built on automations. And this gets them out of the loop of those who struggle. And the reason I put it like this, right? This, you can basically see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at a glance, right? It's at a glance. What this means is on one sheet of paper, they can see their solution. They don't have to flick over different pages or think about 10 different things. All they have to do is look at this one page. And the solution, the bridge from those who struggle to those who are successful, is on this one page. So again, making it easy. Make them more money with less effort. You see the trend? I'm looping back to that every time. So by this point, by simply knowing that, okay, I'm struggling, I want to be successful, now I know what they're going to, I know what I have to do, it breaks the loop. It takes them off that treadmill because all of a sudden they feel fresh, they feel lighter because they knew there was something, they didn't know. They knew there was something these successful guys didn't tell them. There was always something, but now they know. So now they feel relieved. They feel like the pressure and the weight has been lifted off their shoulders. It's easier. So instead of feeling exhausted and tired and frustrated with all of this, they now feel at ease because they have that direction. This is the magic behind it. It shows them the roadmap. Now, it shows them the blueprint to those who are the most successful. They know exactly what they have to do. Now they really, really want it, right? They see the outcome. They know they really want this. It has the outcome that they want without the same drawbacks. They now know exactly what they have to do. And then, of course, we finish it with tomorrow, we're going to show them how to create this. Because now they want it. They really, really want this. They've seen the solution. They've seen the information they didn't know. They've seen what the people were hiding from them. Now they want it. But the gap is still there. All right, but how do I do it? How do I build this? Well, tomorrow, I'm going to show you how to build it. We're going to show you exactly what it takes to build this. So, what happens after day 2 is very, very important. They stop watching the session, right? They log off their computers and it starts ticking over in their head. What would this look like in their business? Would they benefit from referrals? Well, they do good work. The customers are happy. So yeah, the customers would definitely refer them for sure. What about reviews? Do they have reviews? Do we have reviews? Let me check. Wait, not many. But because so many customers that are happy, we should have tons of reviews. We're probably losing business as a result. They see their top competitors have lots of them. Maybe this has been holding them back all along. They see do they have a list of leads that have disappeared? They do. In fact, you know what? They bought leads and they paid an agency a lot of money and they just got this spreadsheet of leads that went nowhere. What if they could get them back? There must be someone on that big list that would convert, like one person. And even if that system converted just one person, I'd make the money back that I paid that agency for the leads. It would reset to 0. And that's just one. And I've got a list of 1,000 there. But you see what they're doing? This is their thought process, right? You see what they're doing? They are directly applying it to their business. And they're selling themselves after the session. So instead of you saying, hey, let's imagine this in your business, no, they're doing it themselves. They are creating that desire. They're visualizing it in their world. They're imagining life if those problems were solved. But the question remains, okay, I can see I need to do this. I've done my own research in my own business. I've applied it to my scenario. I've applied it to my situation. But how do I do it? I need to know how to do it. So they show up for day 3. And you see what's happening? You see how we get them from day 1 to day 2 to day 3. Day 1 is hope, but it's what is it? Day 2, we show them what it is, the solution. Day 3 is how do I do the solution? And we progress them, right? We progress them along this journey. Then, on day 3, we show them how to do it, right? Again, we're not holding it back. We're not holding anything back from them. But we create this gap of doing it themselves. So The biggest thing about day 3 is they believe in a better tomorrow. The hope is there. They've identified with the problems that they have. They know what the most successful do. They know what they have to do. They've got the roadmap and the blueprint. And in day 3, I'm going to show them exactly how to do it. But I'm going to show them what it takes to actually do this, because I know they want it at this point. So let me just show them what it takes. All the different bells and whistles, all the different automations, all the systems, the training an AI employee takes, the implementation, the expertise, the education, the learning, what they have, the learning curve just to implement this system. I'm going to show them exactly what it looks like. Why do I do this? Because remember, I'm not pitching. I'm simply saying, this is how you do it. If you want us to do it faster and just do it for you, book your call. I'm solving the problem, right? I'm just solving that problem. I'm not pitching anything. I'm not giving them this big spiel about how great everything is. No. You want us to solve that problem for you? We can do it. Book your call. It's the most effortless pitch. Then when they get on the call, you know they want it already, right? They're already there. They've spent so long with you. It's like taking orders at that point. This is the magic behind it, right? This is how we do it. It's all about positioning. So your goal is to basically get as many people through these workshops as possible, because it's going to position them for you. It's going to take them through that process and position them exactly where they need to be. It's going to build the hope. It's going to build the excitement. Then it's going to expose the problems, expose the gap, build the identity to the most successful people. Then it's going to get them wanting it, selling it to themselves, imagining it and visualizing it in their own business. And then day 3, we expose just what it takes and the value of expertise in order to build this effectively. Because again, they don't want to get it wrong. They don't want to waste any more time. Then, of course, we give them the perfect solution to their problem, which is, hey, why don't we just do it all for you? That's the magic of it. It's all about creating the desire. This is what day 2 is all about. Creating that desire and allowing them to picture it tangibly in their own business. And that's super important. When they go home, or they're not going home because it's not in person, but when they log off, right? They're eating their dinner or whatever, they are picturing it in their business. They are literally doing the work of a sales call. They're imagining it. They're looking at the reviews and thinking, is this a problem? Yeah, this does look like a problem. They're thinking about their phone ringing. They're eating dinner, their phone rings. They miss it because they're spending time with their kids or whatever the scenario is. They're walking the dog. Could that have been a lead? So you see it takes over in their brain all the time. Then, of course, on day 3, we send them the reminder to rewatch day 2, to reposition them in this state of desire once again, to build the excitement up for day 3. Because I want to keep them on this. If you think of it like a pathway, right? This tight pathway that goes to water, which is working with you. My goal is to keep them on that path. Now, whenever they go to sleep at night, all of the racing thoughts, the rumination, everything comes back, and they've got 110 different doubts. That gets them off the path. So I refresh them on day 3. In the morning of day 3, before we go live or before the video goes live, I refresh them on day 2 because it gets them back on the path. And the path is where they buy. So it's just this cycle of keeping them on that loop, right? So I'm creating the hope, the belief, creating the desire, creating the problem, exposing the gap, showing them what the most successful people do. I'm removing the pressure, removing the blame. It's not your fault. I used that many times in what I was saying here. It's not your fault, because it gives them permission to accept the problem they have. Everybody wants someone to blame, right? So we're going to use that in what we're doing here. It's not your fault, but don't worry, we can fix it. So it is a problem, but listen, don't think of it as a problem. It's all right. We're already fixing it. We're on the path to fixing it right now as we speak. So you don't really have to worry about it. You see the sense of relief they get from that? They just feel comfortable. There's trust. But again, we've got to the end of day 2 here. and we haven't pitched anything. So again, we've kept our promise. They don't know what we're selling yet. They want to buy something, but they don't know what we're selling. So again, we've kept our promise. So day 1, we told them we wouldn't sell, kept our promise. Day 2, we wouldn't sell, kept our promise. Day 3, the vast majority, we don't sell. We build the trust like nobody has ever done for them before. And this is why you can get 50 customers in a day. This is the reality. This is why. This will set you apart from everybody. And once you understand how this works, once you understand this process, everything's going to change. It's going to become so much easier for you because you know, is it a case of manipulation? Controversial, arguable. I guess a sales call can be framed as manipulation to some extent, right? Because you're working with the problems. I would probably call what we're doing here helping the customer make the decision that's best for them. I would call it understanding the paths that they can fall off, or understanding how life works and understanding how the brain works. That's all we're doing. We know how the brain works. We want to help this person. We know we're going to help this person. We just have to save them from themselves, right? That's the reality. We have to save them from themselves. If we don't control that, life is going to get in the way. Life is going to get in the way for them. They're going to have stress coming from all these different angles that confuse their thinking. We don't want to let that happen. If that happens, we can't help them anymore. So that's the magic, right? That's the magic behind what we're doing. So that's how we position day 2. And that's why the 3-day workshop actually sells for you behind the scenes without you doing anything. Then the lead comes to day 3 with a desire, ready to implement. Then the magic of day 3 happens. But like I said, based on the length of this session, I've given you a lot of information. I've given you a lot of more complex psychological frameworks to think of. So I'm going to break this up into the 3rd session. So day 3, I'm going to show you on next week's session how to build day 3. In that time, you should be thinking about how to build day 2. You should be thinking and watching this video, watching the recording. How do we build day 2? How do we actually do it? And really take notes on what I'm saying here. It's so important. I can't stress how important this actually is. Once, I promise you, once you understand consumer psychology, once you understand how people buy, the mindset, the mental frameworks, everything starts to make sense for you. You can just see how to sell someone instantly. It's not difficult anymore. You're just trying to help people. This is why I say take the time to understand this, because once you do, you will never, ever look back. So it's extremely important to nail this session, because it will get the conversion. This is where we cannot fumble. We've done all the work to get that lead ready to go. Now, in day 3, we've just got to push them over the line. So that wraps us up for the creation of day 2. And as I said, next week, I'm going to do day 3 on Tuesday, right? On Tuesday, I'm going to be doing day 3 and showing you how we build day 3. There is a chance that it might be a bit of a longer session. So I would probably, usually I'm about 45 minutes to an hour. I would maybe give it 90 minutes, give a bit of extra time, because there's a little bit more we have to do in day 3, just because we're going to be introducing that pitch as well, right? And again, it's not really a pitch. We're just solving a problem. But I have to cover that too. So I've got to show you the setup of day 3. Then I have to show you the part about actually positioning the service and the transition between the two. So I would say it's going to take us about 90 minutes. But as I said, I'm flying on Wednesday. So I will be doing this on the Tuesday, because I'm probably going to be jet lagged to all hell on Thursday, because it's 9 hours. So yeah, Tuesday is when we're going to be doing the session for day 3. Now I'm going to open up the floor to any questions that anyone has about this. It can be about anything that you want to talk about. Feel free. And I know, Vince, you're saying in the chat here, I don't think it's manipulation, because that would be equivalent to showing a teenager the rule of 72. Why they should invest their money and not just spend it for. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's helping people, but explaining it in a way where they're actually going to digest it and understand it, right? Our goal is to get people to digest and understand what we're saying because we're trying to help them. Right? If we don't speak their language, if we don't speak in a way where it resonates with how they're currently thinking, or it respects the challenges they may face right now, it's going to go in one ear and go out the other. They're not going to digest this. It's not going to help them. So to help them, we have to speak their language. And that's the goal. All right, I've done a lot of talking here. Are there any questions anybody has? Feel free to ask in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself. Don't be shy. Whatever it is that you need, I'm here to help you. This is your chance. Feel free. Who's up first for a question? Fire away. Vince, go for it.
Yep, got a question. So have you ever, so you send this out by email. Have you ever had anyone just email you back and say, hey, I've watched, or I don't know if you done it recording or live, or they just asked you in the workshop, I'm interested. Do I still have to wait for the next 2 days?
Yep. I've had people pay me before the workshop goes live. So yes is the answer. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And it's because one thing you have to remember is before the workshop, we can often do a build-up phase, which is value focused. And it's an optional component, but we can do a build-up. We can build up to it, build the excitement, drop the pebble as to what we're going to be discussing, and basically condensing the workshop into excitement emails. So that's what gets that's how that can possibly happen. And especially after day one, that can happen as well, because they say, like, I see the problem, how do I fix it? And yeah, that can happen for sure.
Right.
All right. He's asking, is there any lead who asked for a demo of the system? How did you reply? Not really. Remember, with the service, you are booking a phone call at the end of the workshop. I mean, you don't have to, but typically you would book a phone call. Now, the phone call is basically order taking. They're already sold at that point. It's the easiest sales call you'll ever have. But at that point, you could show them a demo. I typically don't, right? I don't show demos for anything at all, ever. Never have, and I don't think I ever will. The reason I don't do that is because people don't buy products. They buy the outcome of the product. So my focus, whenever I'm doing a workshop, whenever I'm presenting, whenever I'm on a call, is always on the outcome. That's all it is. They don't care about the mechanism, and a demo tends to focus on the mechanism. Now, will I show screenshots from it and say, look, this is how it works? Sure, yeah, I can explain that. But I'm not going to sit and take them through a demo of the system, right? I'm not going to do that. Mainly because that's not the position they buy from, right? That's the goal. We need to have them in the right position to buy. And this is where SaaS companies go wrong, right? This is why they can struggle at times, is because they're trying to sell the product and never the outcome. And if you look at the WhatsApp chat, I'm not sure if Duncan's still in there, he may have to run off or whatever, but have a look at our conversation today when he's trying to sell his software that he builds. Have a look at the conversation. I said to him, like, you've got to sell the outcome, right? You've got to take what was his description was very product focused, flip that to the outcome. Have a look at that chat. Olivia, you got a question?
I would just like to rebound on that. Would you? Because like I understand very much that you focus on the outcome in the conversation, but for something like, for example, like I said, the AI employee, I see a lot of people doing like who sell them pretty good to who do the demo. So they mix the both in that way. Like, is it like I understand that like maybe because it's different what you call the AI employee and what they call the AI voice agent, for example, is two different levels.
Mm-hmm.
So is it based on that? Is it based on the price as well of the service, or is it based on more like the philosophy that you think that even for an AI agent, you will not do a demo? You think that it's better because, like in other conversation, we were talking about like giving the experience to people. Sometimes of the service is helping them to go across. Like,
there's actually a fantastic example of this, and I'm not sure you'd have to have seen the TV show, but have you ever seen the US Office?
no.
Ever seen that show? No. All right, I recommend you watch it. It's a classic. But anyway,
Okay.
basically they sell paper, right? They're paper salesmen, and there's a classic episode where they're trying to pitch the accounts that they have lost, or I think they lost them, or new accounts, whatever, who have gone to the bigger companies, right? They've gone to the bigger suppliers, cheaper prices, and they're sitting in front of the guy, and the guy's saying, oh, unless you can match those prices, we're not interested. So what he does is he just picks up his phone, doesn't say anything, and he rings the number of the competitor. Then the other guy rings the number for, well, first of all, this competitor, and then the customer, he doesn't say anything. Then the customer is sitting there, and a few minutes go by, and like, what are you doing? And then he says, that's the big supplier. You're still waiting for a response. And then he passes it to the other guy, and he says, call what's called Dunder Mifflin, like their company, and it picks up instantly, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is that's an experiential example.
Yeah.
But they are in control of that example. They're in control. They're not letting the prospect come up with their own ideas. So I don't have a problem when it comes to AI employees of showing them contextually what it is, but I do have a problem if you let them go free with it, right? And come up with
I understand.
crazy questions. So if you do run demos like that, I would call them experiences, number one, but I would make sure you control the frame, right? You can do the demo, you can ask the right questions, you have to control the frame, otherwise they can run.
Okay, so it's better, for example, to show them me doing the call, knowing exactly how to frame it, and therefore demonstrating the kind of result they could get. But it's me who is in control, and they just be there as a viewer in a way.
Basically, yeah, because you can control the questions, and you can ask the questions in a way that focuses on the outcome.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So that's what I would do. So I'm not against showing them by any means. I'm more so make sure we keep the frame of the outcome, because it's so easy to lose that. Because then they'll start saying, oh, well, I liked how the other one sounded more. I just like the voice options. And you're sitting there thinking, well, I could have changed that. I could change the way it sounds or whatever. Yeah. It's just crazy stuff happens, right? So you've got to control.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Daryl, you're saying, for fulfillment, will it totally be done by us? What inputs does the customer need to provide for us? Well, I mean, if you created an AI employee, then sure. But if you're using the ones within Legacy where you have the 27 niches built out with AI employees, all you have to do is add in the customer's business details, right? Their opening hours, any special offers that they run with it, or the name of the business, for example, and if there's any specifics, right, like particular things that they offer or services they do / don't do. That's the only things you really have to put into those ones, and then this is all basically pre-built. So technically, yes, the fulfillment is done by you, but it's all pre-built is the answer to that question, unless you go for a very rogue niche that we don't have covered. That's the only scenario it's not covered. And you're saying do we need to upload the customer's existing lead for database reactivation? Yes. And reviews, yes. You upload their existing leads to the system. All right. Does anybody else have any questions they wanted to cover? Feel free to ask. Happy to answer whatever it is you need.
I have one. Have you messed around, because there's some beta things coming out in Go High Level, and such as the workflow writer or something to that effect, where they're making it more simple for people that struggle with workflow. Have you messed around with any of that stuff?
A little bit. Not I wouldn't say extensively, but I have used it to build workflows, and it's good until if you're asking it to create the workflow, then yes.
I'm asking, do you find it a lot simpler than?
Yeah, it does the thinking for you. But for example, if you have to, like, say you need an API key, right? This is literally an example I had to deal with, and I had to pull an API key from an external software. It told me to do so, and I said, okay, here's the API key, and then it says, well, I can't work with this. You've got to do it yourself and figure that out. So that, like, it was the complicated part. It kind of shirked on a little bit. So standard stuff, yeah, for sure, much easier. But for the more complicated stuff, you're still gonna have to do a little bit of heavy lifting.
Yeah, right.
Which is fair. I mean, you can't know everything, I guess, but
right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No worries. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Feel free to fire away.
Neil, yeah, that's Daryl here. For the automatic review, right? Do we need to ask the customers which are the good customers that we should send the auto reviews to, and which are those that we should avoid sending to?
Yeah, good question.
Yeah.
Typically, you just say to them, "We need your list of leads. Are there any customers that you do not want us to send a review request to?"
Oh yeah.
Right. You
Yeah,
position
okay.
it like, and
Okay,
usually they kind of remove these people from their list anyway because they don't want to send them stuff to reignite the fire. Yeah, that's the way you position it.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
No worries. All right. Anybody else have any questions? No. In terms of these workshops, just a little FYI, we are working on a tool that's going to do all this build out for you. I still want you to understand the psychology behind it, mainly because this is really important just for selling anything. And my goal here is not to just give you press this button and you don't really know what to do with it. My goal is to empower you, right? I want you to improve your skill set and become an extremely top level marketer and understanding the language, the psychology behind things. And that's the goal, right? I want you to level up in that sense, and I want to give you the tools. And like I was saying, once you understand how we work with consumer psychology, the behavior of people, you're going to sit at, well, first of all, it starts at family events, right? You're going to sit there and you're going to watch people and watch what they do. You're going to analyze what they do. And you're going to see the same patterns time and time again. So it actually becomes kind of fun. And it's actually a bit like drop shipping, right? Once you understand drop shipping, you stop ordering products from Facebook. That's what happened to me. I don't buy anything anymore because I'm like, well, that's probably cost them like $1 and they're selling it for 25. I'm not going to do that. But the illusion wears off. But the difference is you can leverage the illusion wearing off, the ability you have now, to your advantage, right? You can use it to your advantage. And that's what I'm trying to do. So as much as we're building this tool, and we're going to make it really easy for you, and it's going to put all these psychological triggers in there, I want you to understand it so you have the skill set. That's the goal. Now, Olivia's just saying in the chat, I need to transcribe the 2 last sessions because I need to dissect all your phrases to understand the words used and the psychology behind it, because you go so fast, because it's so effortless for you now. I can't take notes that fast. Yep. No, the transcriptions are actually being taken, so I do upload them. Oh, by the way, for everyone, we're moving over from Teachable to Go High Level. So you will be getting logins for that, just so we've got everything in one place now, right, for you. It'd be much easier for you to keep track of. And for the time being, you will still have Teachable access, but we're going to be making the full transition over. So we're going to upload it to Teachable. Go High Level, got to get used to saying this. We'll be uploading it to Go High Level, so you have the transcription there as well. You have it all there. But yeah, Olivia, it becomes second nature, right? It does, and you start using terms that maybe you wouldn't otherwise use. But yeah, I finally got tired enough. You know what it was? They started jacking up their prices and saying that the reason they were doing it was for transcription services for all the programs, and I thought it's just not worth it anymore. Like, it just isn't worth it. What's the point? What are we doing it for? The platform wasn't even that good. So we thought, you know what, let's just go all in and go high level and build it out properly. And that's what we did. So yes, I got tired of it. I got annoyed. I don't have the group set up yet, Phil, on Go High Level. Well, I'm integrating the WhatsApp, but I will be, we literally, this was as of yesterday. So this is brand new. So we'll get the group set up. I'm more so talking about the programs and such. And the training is all in Go High Level, but yes, the group is something I've got to get set up and Go High Level too, and integrating WhatsApp into it too. So it'll all be in one place. That's what I mean by that. So yeah, this was literally as of yesterday. We got it finalized, and again, we're still not completely off Teachable. We just are moving focus away because it just isn't that good, to be honest, anymore. They're not making enough advancements like Go High Level are. So yeah, they're not worth the money anymore. And I was paying a lot to them, so I was sick and tired of that. But yes, the goal is to empower, and it does come second nature, but it will become second nature for you as well, right? You're going to start using these. You're going to start using these terms. You're going to start understanding why people. You're going to watch anything political entirely differently. You'll start analyzing what you'll notice. And again, if you obviously every time you switch on the news, you see this these days. Watch for this one thing, and you'll laugh, and you'll think of me when you hear it. Watch how they'll always position a common enemy, right? Someone else is doing something to us. Every one of them, not one in particular, every one of them. And the next time you watch the news, watch how they pick a common enemy in every scenario, and think of me when that happens. And I'll say, I told you so. Yeah, you'll see how they always blame, they'll blame everything on other people because it creates a common enemy. And in common enemies, we can all collectively come together. And of course, what's politics all about? Getting the vote of the masses. So they want everyone to come together. So have a look out for that this week in the news. All right. Any other questions before we wrap up for the day? No? All right. I will get this session uploaded when Google send the recording to me, usually a couple of hours delay when it's this long. So yeah, a few hours, I'll get it sorted for you all. I'll send out emails and post in the WhatsApp community about it being released. And any questions, you know where to find us. And we've got a lot of stuff, exciting stuff coming for you soon. Keep an eye out for that stuff. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming. I will chat to you all soon. As I said, anything you need, just let us know. See you, everyone. See ya.